Hi, I'm Paul and I'm an artist on the Plugin project. It's a Quench Arts project. We're based in the West Midlands, UK. Today I'm going to be talking about how music is connected to emotions. How does music express emotions? How does music make us feel? The video goes hand in hand with a worksheet I've also created, which you can use, but it's not necessary. We're going to start by listening to some examples of music and how it expresses certain emotions. And then we're going to think about how music can motivate us. How does it help us relax? How does it make us want to exercise or to dance? Then I'm going to take you through a couple of listening exercises just to tune you into the music that you listen to. Next, we're going to have a look at some of the tools that are available in music composition and how you can use them to make your music have the impact that you want. I'm going to try and keep it as practical as possible, so there'll be some activities for you to take part in. I'm going to encourage you to listen to your own music and find your own examples. The examples I've given I can't play as part of this video for copyright reasons, but if you've got access to the internet you'll be able to look them up. You don't have to use my examples though. Find in your own music collection some examples of different emotional music. So apart from internet and your music collection, all you'll need is perhaps a pen and paper or the worksheet that I've done, and perhaps a musical instrument or your singing voice, percussion, guitar, keyboard. Anything will do really for making some kind of sound. Right, so let's start by listening to some music. We'll look at some examples of music that expresses emotion. What I've done is I've chosen recent songs that most people should have heard of. Love them or hate them, they are examples of different emotions in music. For the first exercise, I am in a minute going to ask you to pause the video and go and listen to some music. The first three emotions we are looking for are anger, happiness, and sadness. Which songs in your collection do you feel express these emotions? Pause your video now and go and listen to some of your music. Make some notes and then turn the video back on and I'll tell you the examples that I've got. Okay, so you've either been listening to some music or you've been waiting for my examples so you can listen to those ones. First, anger. I've got The Pretender by the Foo Fighters and Lights Out by Royal Blood. Now the Foo Fighters isn't particularly a recent song, it's 2007, but to be honest I'll probably get corrected here and you can leave some comments underneath the video if you like. I really struggled to find a rock song that had any success since 2007. The lyrics of these two songs, the heavy riffs, the heavy drums and the shouty vocals really help it to express anger. I'm going to give you my happy examples now, but if you'd like, pause the video and have a listen to the angry songs. Okay, moving on, songs that express happiness. My examples are Shotgun by George Ezra and Higher Love by Whitney Houston and Kygo. These songs have optimistic lyrics and a cleaner production. Pause now if you'd like to have a listen to them, or we'll carry on. Next, sad songs. My examples are Lonely by Billie Eilish and Khalid and Hold Me While You Wait by Lewis Capaldi. These songs are quite different from each other, but they've both got less going on in the production. They use chord progressions that sound sadder, and they are slower as well. Pause now if you'd like to have a listen to them, and then we'll move on to songs that make us feel or do something. Okay, go back to your music collection now and see if you can find some songs that make you feel relaxed. Do you have any songs that motivate you to exercise? And which songs make you dance? Pause the video, make some notes, and come back and I'll give you my examples. Okay, first, music that makes you feel relaxed. My examples are All of Me by John Legend and Someone Like You by Adele. These songs both clearly have romantic lyrics in them, and it would appear that the piano plays a big part, and in particular the way the piano is being played. I'll show you later, but the piano is played with arpeggios. Have a listen if you'd like, and then we will move on to music that motivates us to exercise. The songs I've chosen for this are Sucker by the Jonas Brothers and Moves Like Jagger by Maroon 5. There's just something about the rhythm of these songs and the tempo and the feel that I think makes them suitable for exercising. Have a listen if you'd like, and then we'll move on to music for dancing. There's loads of music to dance to, and in fact dance is its own genre, and you could probably dance to a lot of the songs that we talk about today and a lot of the songs that you find in your music collection. But the songs I've chosen, which have a particularly dancey feel to them, are Giant by Rag and Bone Man and Calvin Harris, and Uptown Funk by Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars. With both these songs, clear and simple rhythmic drums mixed with the more complicated rhythms of instruments like brass make at least your head nod. So what is it that makes one song good for exercising and another song sound angry? Before we look at the reasons why different songs have different emotions attached to them and the kind of tools that you can use when you're making your music, I'm going to give you a couple of exercises which might be helpful to help you to listen to music in more detail. For this, again, you'll need your music collection or access to YouTube to listen to my examples, and a piece of paper and a pen or the worksheet. First, let's see what sounds we can hear in songs. So choose one of your songs, or my example, we are going to use Shotgun by George Ezra. There's loads going on in modern pop production today, and George Ezra is a good example of all sorts going on. All I'd like you to do is have a listen to the song once or twice, and as each new instrument comes in, note it down. It may not be a conventional instrument, it could be a sound effect or a backing vocal. Pause the video now and have a listen, make some notes, and then we'll carry on. Okay, this isn't a test, it's just designed to get you thinking about what layers make up a piece of music. I've got my notes down here. If you were listening to George Ezra, you might have heard electric guitars, bass guitar, acoustic guitar, drums and other percussion like a clave, tambourine, cowbell, maraca, lead and backing vocals, trumpet, trombone, saxophone maybe, definitely some brass, some synth brass, there's some keyboard sounds in there, and then I heard some special effects such as reverse cymbal, echoes in the vocal, and there's some crowd noise towards the end as well. But you might have heard some different things in that song, and you certainly will have heard some different things in your song. Alright, next exercise. We are going to analyse the structure of a song. You can use your own example, or you can use my example, Sucker by the Jonas Brothers. Have a listen to the song, pausing where necessary, and make a note of the structure as you go along. You'll be looking for sections like the verse, the pre-chorus maybe, a chorus, an instrumental section possibly, intro, outro, there might be a middle eight section, those kind of things. Now, your version of a verse might be different from my version of a verse, so again, there's not going to be any right or wrong answer here. So pause the video and have a listen and make some notes. Right, so if you're listening to Sucker and you want to hear what I heard an intro, a verse, then a pre-chorus, then a chorus, then there was another verse, a pre-chorus and a chorus, then there was an instrumental, a whistle solo, and a pre-chorus and a chorus to finish off. Now we're ready to think about why different songs sound different emotionally. We're going to be looking at major and minor chords, fast and slow tempos, loud and soft sounds, pure and distorted sounds, what sort of instruments are used, and we're going to look at lots of rhythmic aspects like swing and groove and accents, staccato and legato. Let's start with what would appear to be the more obvious ones. First of all, lyrics. In a lot of the songs that I've chosen today, the lyrics are telling us that something's wrong. In the sad songs, there seems to be some kind of giving in to the sadness. But in the angry songs, they seem a bit more proactive, like something's going to be done about it. And in the more dancey songs and exercise songs, then you've got more of a positive slant on what's being said. So there might be some sadness in some part of the song, but then there might be some more positivity in another part of the song, helping you overcome the sadness. A couple of the songs, Shotgun and Uptown Funk, are just blatantly positive. And then you've got All of Me, which is extremely romantic. Someone Like You, though, is romantic, but there's a tinge of sadness to it. The more we listen to the lyrics of this one, the more we realise what a positive song it is. Adele's singing about an ex who is now in a successful relationship, but she's actually singing about how happy she is for the person that they found happiness. Very generous human behaviour. Next, let's have a think about the tempo of a song and the mix of the different instruments. It's clear in my choices that the slower songs are sad or relaxing. But we'll see later on that it's not always as simple as slowing a song down to have those effects. What I noticed in the songs that I've chosen was that the sadder and more relaxing tunes had less going on in the production, or if there were any other elements than the main vocal and the main accompanying instrument, they were suppressed in the mix by being turned down or with EQ. So EQ with in particular the higher frequency taking out an instrument to make them feel more distant, and that can make the rhythmic aspect of a tune less obvious. Moving on, another thing I noticed about the sadder and more relaxing of my songs was that the sounds in them were cleaner. Distortion is something that can make a song sound more exciting or thicker or more congested. So in an obvious way, distortion is used on the guitars and the vocal style in The Pretender. And in a more subtle way, distortion can be used to make a mix feel fuller and more exciting, and so maybe more suitable for dancing or exercising. Hold Me While You Wait could be quite a relaxing song if it wasn't for Lewis Capaldi's nearly aggressive vocal style. You can hear the yearning in his voice. Now we're getting into the more subtle and theoretical aspects of music. We're going to be looking at chord progressions and rhythm, and we're going to be looking at the way instruments are played. It's going to get a bit more practical now, so I'm going to get my guitar out. Alright, let's look at chords next. It might be helpful if you've got a guitar with you or a keyboard, or perhaps you've got an app that plays chords. I know GarageBand has got a keyboard in it and a guitar sound that you can change it to just a chord player just by pressing buttons. You can play different chords. We're going to be experimenting with simple major and minor chords today. So pause the video and find an instrument if you think it will be useful. Alright, ready? So it's commonly known that a major chord sounds happy and a minor chord sounds sad. But in pop music, and this goes for the songs that I've chosen today, there's always a mix of major chords and minor chords. For example, Lovely by Billie Eilish and Khalid starts with a major chord, even though it's my song of sad choice. It starts with C. And then it goes to an E minor, but it's not really till the third chord, B minor, that the music confirms to us, before any singing has started, the music confirms to us that it sounds sad. To me anyway, so it's like this. C, E minor, B, C, E minor, to B minor. Try it on your instrument. Now perhaps you'd like to try to see what happens if we go C, E minor, and then go to another chord, say G. E minor, to the G, to the C, E minor, G. So, same tempo, same feel, there's just one chord different, and the B minor's been replaced by a G major. That to me sounds much more optimistic. It's a positive chord progression to me. So we can see that it's maybe not the chords that are used, but it's the order that we use them in. So in this case, we've gone to an E minor, but then we are relieved of the sadness by going to a major chord instead of a minor chord. Okay, try something else now on your instrument. I'm going to play C and then F. Now this interval between the two chords, depending on what key it is, it works for different chords as well. So it's the same as going from A to D, A to D, or it's the same as going from G to C. So it's not the absolute chords that I'm using, it's the interval between them. So I've gone into a bit more detail in the worksheet about the intervals between chords, and in a certain methodology of talking about chords, people use Roman numerals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then it goes back to 1. So if you do think in those terms, what we're going to do now is we're going to go from the C to the F, which is from the 1 to the 4. So let's try playing this in an upbeat fashion. So either to a drum beat backing, or on a guitar in a very rhythmic way. So perhaps like. This chord progression of two major chords is an extremely positive one. In fact, it's so positive you don't really hear it in pop music anymore. But what if you slow these two chords down, C and G? Let's try playing them very slowly. I think you could easily write a sad song to those two chords. So it's not always as simple as it seems. I wonder if it works the other way around. What I've noticed is that in the Roman numeral system, chord number 3, the minor of chord number 3, seems to be sadder than other minor chords in the key. What that translates to is going from C to E minor. Let's see what that sounds like. Played like that, that's fairly sad. I wonder what happens if we use the same strumming as I used for my first lot of C and F, the very upbeat one. Very good. It sounds like it wants to go somewhere, doesn't it? But it does sound a little bit more upbeat, but there is a tinge of sadness to it, I think, still. Right, I was going to talk next about the kinds of instruments that you could use in your music to create different emotions. And you can use different instruments, but I don't think it's about what instruments you use, because you can, in our happy and dance tunes, there's lots of brass. But you can make sad songs with brass instruments, and the same thing goes for the strings in Lovely. very sad sounding, and perhaps it's a quartet rather than a full orchestra. But strings can be used in very happy music, and I've decided it's more about how the instruments are played than the instruments themselves. So using my humble guitar, let's have a look at some different ways of playing. First of all, the relaxed styles in All of Me and Someone Like You. They feature the piano, which in itself is a very popular instrument in ballads, but also in other kinds of music. The piano features quite highly in one of our dance records. No, it's one of the happy ones, the Whitney Houston one. There's some big, powerful piano chords in that. But in particular, John Legend plays his piano in All of Me using arpeggios. So that would be, as opposed to long drawn out chords like this, it would be more like arpeggios are when you play one note of a chord at a time in rhythm. So I'm a drummer, so my guitaring skills isn't phenomenal, but I'll try and demonstrate anyway. So an arpeggio is this. Like that. That's an arpeggio. It's I suppose a more gentle sound, a softer sound, and it flows. It's very flowing. But if the chords in let's say Uptown Funk, the dance number, they're much more choppy, like this. So you could play the same song chords that I just played, which were the chords from All of Me, in that same choppy fashion, and you'll get a completely different effect. So what I was playing in All of Me was A, E, F sharp minor, and D. So if I played that more choppy, then I'll even play it at the same tempo. So this is what it sounds like with arpeggios. So perhaps you'd like to try it, but this is what it would sound like, more choppy. So you get the idea. That would be more of take it perhaps a little less relaxed and more of perhaps a toe tapper, you know, maybe a dance song. Another example of these short punchy sounds is the brass instrument, which both feature in Giant and Uptown Funk. And what I've noticed is that the rhythms are much more complicated than the flowing rhythms of the more relaxed songs. So let's look more about rhythm. We're going to do some practical exercises now, exploring rhythm, in particular staccato, legato, that's short and long, and also the rhythmic feel, so putting swing and accents into a rhythm. Now for this you can use an instrument, or you can use your voice, so you can use percussion, you can use guitar, keyboard. Most instruments will work here. At the beginning we're going to be playing long notes, but just not for too long. So if you've got something like your voice that makes a long sound, or if you're playing percussion, then you can try these kind of movements, sort of like a brush sound. If you're playing chords, then I'm going to be playing E minor and A major. So to start off with, let's play a straight 4 rhythm like this. That's it. So you could say I'm playing legato there because I'm letting the strings ring out. Okay, let's double it now. So we're going to play 8, but in the same tempo. So that'll be like this. That's it. So that's got a particular feel to it. What happens if we shorten those notes? So if I am playing a keyboard, then I'm just going to, instead of holding down the notes, the chords, I'm going to be just hitting them almost. So on the guitar, I'm going to be muting the guitar so that it doesn't allow the guitar to sustain. So it will sound like this, playing 8s. There we go. What difference do you notice to the energy of the music? To me, that feels a lot more rhythmic. We are making the rhythm clearer by playing staccato. Now, accents. So what we're going to do now, if you've got the worksheet, I've made the notes. Well, they're not notes; they're blocks which should show you where to play. I've made the darker notes, the accents. So we're going to play every other one with an accent. So we've got a loud one and then a soft one. Loud one and a soft one. Loud one and a soft one. Loud one and a soft one. Okay, so in rhythm, that will sound like this. So you can almost only hear the 4s, but the 8s are there. So they're just there slightly. So how does that feel different to you? It's got a different feel. It sounds more bouncy to me, and to me at the moment we're stepping up each time. So we're playing legato. Legato's got a feel to it. And then we shorten the note, staccato. That's getting a bit more bouncy. And then we've got even more energy by actually emphasizing one and playing less of the other. That's accents and staccato. What we're going to do now is we're going to add in some swing. Now swing is when you change the length of time between the notes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the 8s straight first, and they sound like this. And then if you've got the worksheet, you'll be able to see what I've done is the 4 notes that we started with, they all stay in the same place, and we're going to move the 2nd, 4th, 6th and the 8th note back a little bit. So then if this is our 4, this is straight. Back to the 4. Now with swing it sounds like this. completely different feel again. Without accents it sounds like this. And with accents it's... So lots of options there. Back to the straight feel. Swing. So I think that making sounds shorter and adding accents and putting some swing in can continually lift your music and make it more geared towards those higher energy styles like exercising and dancing. Swing has been used for a long time for dance music, going back to classical ballroom and traditional Irish, English and Scottish folk music. It was clearly used in the 20th century in jazz and blues, but even today in modern composition, swing is used, albeit sometimes subtly, just to give the music a lift and make it a bit more danceable. To finish off, I've made a table that summarises what I've discussed in this video. You've got the emotions along the top, and down the left-hand side are the musical elements that we've talked about. They're not set rules, they're just some observations that I've made that will hopefully help you express emotion in your music. So, in exploring music and emotions today, we've looked at some modern examples of music that expresses certain emotions, makes us feel certain emotions. We've gone through some listening exercises and started listening really deeply to certain music to try and strip down what layers there is in music and how that's connected to emotions. And then we've looked at some of the more theoretical aspects of music and the musical tools that can be used to create a certain feel. I hope it's been useful for your music, thinking about these aspects, and I hope you've enjoyed taking part in some of the activities. Thank you very much for watching.